And welcome everyone. Here we are on Core Hall Compound in Game 2 of the MSL Code A Grand Finals. This matchup is of course between the pink Zerg player, Uncia, who won the winner's bracket finals against this orange Protoss player, Stefanovich. So a really interesting set of games we've got coming up and ones we had before. Stefanovich lost in the grand finals, the best of 5, 1-3, but he fought his way through the loser's bracket and wants to prove himself to the Zerg player Uncia. So he's got an opportunity here to bring the noise, bring the heat, bring whatever sort of euphemism you'd like for killing the other guy. You can insert any of those there. Another thing I'd like to point out, I'm congratulating myself on over 500 views. That's, once again, almost 10 views per video because I've got sheer number of videos. Never give up, never surrender. Also have a number of subscribers. So thank you to all of you that are subscribing. I'd also want to point out that now there's enough subscribers that if you were all sitting in my my little office here, you wouldn't all fit. So I'd consider that a big deal. So now it makes sense to do everything on YouTube because you couldn't all conceivably just come to my house and talk about StarCraft. So Stefanovich here, going with a Forge Fast Expand. Well, a Forge Expand of some sort. It might be Forge Fast Expand. We'll decide. This is so one of the things. So Core Hall Compound. I'm not actually sure if this is a ladder map. Oh, this could be a cannon rush. I'm really excited. Although it's, oh, is it gonna get spotted? It does get spotted. That was actually really good placement. Is he gonna wall him in? Oh my goodness. I think he might wall his opponent into his base. That would be absolutely hilarious. Is he gonna try it? I think he's gonna try it. Nope, he's gonna throw it on a cannon. He needs to throw down another one before the energy. Ooh, it didn't even get canceled. That's painful. Just a second, everyone. I actually heard something recently. I haven't seen this happen in a game. I don't think this cannon will finish. I think it's going to get killed. He needs to cancel that. Please can't. Okay, whew, got his money back. 200 minerals blocked, but a lot of mining time lost as well. But I saw somewhere pylons on the low ground don't actually project energy onto the high ground. So if you're going to cannon rush, make sure you put the cannon up top, or not the cannon, the pylon. So big thing there. Something new with Heart of the Swarm that I did not know, because remember, I don't actually get to play tons at this point in time, which really saddens me. And that's not really a situation you find yourself in terribly frequently. So also, because this has got a large entrance, this is what I was going to talk about before. It's a relatively open map. It's got some really big areas, some decent ramps to try to force your way up that kind of constrict movement. But other than that, there's just a lot of open space. And also, this is a little bit of a smaller map. And that third base is so vulnerable over there. To go all the way around this peninsula. That pains me. These Lings over here are going to try to make a counterattack. Good job with the probe. Oh, it's still not. This is what I'm talking about. The base is almost right side. Either that or probes somehow aren't the right size. Zealots can block that off. Ooh, he's going to make it his way in. He will make his way in with one Zergling. That is not a big deal. That will be chased down and dealt with here pretty quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure if Core Hall Compound... Wow, there's a lot of probes. Core Hall Compound is actually... I just am not sure it's a ladder map at this point in time. Not a big deal. Also, for the love of everything, these guys choose their games every other map. That's cool. Fine with that. It hurts me. I did remember to switch the map, the scoreboard, so it doesn't look ridiculous at this particular point in time, but I've had that happen many times before. If you could all just stay on the same side of the screen, it really makes my life easier. Okay, so now things are starting to even out a little bit. We do see a slight worker advantage from Uncia. He did deal with that aggression early on at the beginning. If he had not scouted with that drone, this might have ended very poorly, especially if you'd gotten that wall off in between. That would have been absolutely hilarious. So all told, units lost. There we go. More have been lost from Stefanovich, although that difference will not be a huge deal eventually. The expansion is up. He should be able to catch up in the worker count here pretty quickly, as he should be able to double produce and chrono boost. So he's still down by a few, not a big deal. I'm going to throw down that warp gate Going to start researching some additional tech. Just waiting to see exactly what that is. At this point in time, so on 2 bases, you can easily support somewhere between 6 and 7 gates. 8 is considered kind of an all-in, but you can do it. You can only do it for a few production cycles. That's where it is. Stargate! Sky Toss. Everyone loves Sky Toss. Okay, doesn't do it in vision of this Overlord. That's always really painful. Another interesting thing is I think Unica is feeling a little bit behind this game, which is interesting because he played the early game pretty well. But he hasn't taken that other base, possibly because it's so far away. Remember I've said before that each one of these games, or usually, you want to stay a base up. We'll see how this works out, and if I'm a complete liar face, because that's a thing. Also, Blizzard, please make a separate rally point for Nexi, so then your mothership core doesn't end up exactly over top of your probes. Pro tip. And sadly, they haven't fixed that, but they fixed the thing in the early Wings of Liberty where Terran buildings could make bubbles. You put a patrol in a really tiny area and it would start spinning. It was amazing. So sad they patched that. We do see Unica here going to do a little bit of 2-base aggression. Remember, no other expansion. Doesn't have to invest more in continual worker production. And now has this ability to do this crazy kind of 2-base roach timing. He does not have enough for photon overcharge, although he's pretty close. So that cannon is actually not in a good place. We'll be focused down really quickly. Those zealots here actually just need to keep standing there. This probe here is going to be pretty important. Okay. He's going to be able to take this out. This zealot should just come stand back here. Need to put the photon cannons farther back. He needs to warp in also another sentry. There we have another one. He should be able to block it out. Ooh, pretty close. The photon overcharge needs to go down like immediately for him to be able to not lose tons and tons of this. There you go. He should be safe here in just a moment. He needs to pull all those probes back inside of his base. Actually, this could actually be pretty bad. As the photon overcharge doesn't reach everywhere. This could be disastrous. He needs to keep playing Ring Around the Rosie with those stalkers. We do have a Void Ray coming out. These are probes, not stalkers. Painful. Lots of workers going down. It's going to force them to come back and fight in the range of the photon overcharge. And more reinforcements keep streaming in. I think Stefanovich should be able to stabilize once this Void Ray comes out. Although it looks like he's going to lose this Nexus. Ooh, that's brutal. Okay, so the Void Ray out has been revealed. I don't think it matters much at this point. He needs to keep all these units away. He needs to fight in where the photon overcharge was. It is no longer. And actually, this is going to look really quite bad for Unica. Not Unica. It looks really good for Unica. The cannon there. Ouch. So instead of defending here with photon overcharge and casting that immediately while the wall was down, and there was still energy, units made their way in, and it looks like that's going to hurt Stefanovich quite a lot. One Void Ray going to be able to do a pretty good job. It will eventually take things out. They have quite a lot of DPS, not so much against Zerglings. The question here is, what in the world can Stefanovich do? Looking at the worker count, it's 6 to 36. Although there are no other units out from Unica at this point in time. So things look really bad, and in fact they are really bad. So I'm kind of surprised that the game's still going. I think actually what it is, Stefanovich just doesn't know the extent to what exactly has happened. And even though it's a best of 7, you don't want to preemptively GG out of a game that you might have been able to win. So there's no hurt in trying to regain your economy. See if you can hold out a little bit longer. The mothership core still does exist. It will have enough. It does have enough for another photon overcharge. 2 sentries here could hold off a wall here, and with some Void Rays, could actually hold this area for a decent amount of time. The problem is that there's 10 Hydras coming, and Hydras are really good against anything that flies. So, pretty sure this one's going to go the other way. So I'm going to start my analysis now while everyone is still watching, or presumably, at least because the game is still going. Key things here. So Zealot was actually in a much better place than we've seen in some of the other games where the hole was much larger. That held things for a while. Good job. Cannons against Zerg players, pull your cannons back out of the range of roaches. There's actually this little distance that, yeah, it's right about in here, right about in here that maybe 1 or 2 roaches will be able to attack your cannon, but not all of them at the same time. They'll have to DPS down this whole wall, which takes a lot more time, and even then, you can throw down a force field. And then the photon overcharge, I think, could have been thrown down a little bit earlier. Wow, that died fast. This Void Ray needs to pull back immediately. Oh, it did try. Didn't actually force field the whole thing. A little bit of a misstep. No photon overcharge. Ouch. Okay, I think we're going to see the GG here, like, immediately. There we go. Way to follow all the rules. So, an interesting game. Stefanovich tried to bring the pain a little bit earlier with some cannon rushage. It got scouted. He was a little bit behind. Unica decided not to take that extra base and instead do something atypical for him, which is to bring the noise a little bit earlier on. And I think that caught Stefanovich a little bit off guard, as he's typically been the aggressor in these games. And it came at a time that he didn't really have enough units to defend, and Unica made his way in and was able to exploit that. So, good games. Now, Unica goes up 2-0, but this is a best of 7, so we still have at least a few more games ahead of us. So, thanks again. We'll be back in just a moment.